start with the sum of difference formulas for the sine and cosine and tangent, and do a couple more problems on those, and that'll be the end of 5.2. Remember, on your Google Classroom, there's a sign up for retakes if you're interested, and that's going to be occurring, I think, on December 21st. Sorry, December 21st? 18th, is it? Friday the 18th, yeah. The other box. Okay. So it's the 18th. So we're going to be making copies of those tests, so you need to go ahead and do that. There will not be a Chapter 5 test on the retakes. So there will be a Chapter 5 test, but it'll only be like 2 or 3 days before the retake day. So we're not going to have to do that right away. Also, the retakes will be only 1 day. Some of those tests were over 2 days or a day and a half, a period and a half. So it's going to be all in one sitting period in class per test. We're going to look at 2 problems today, and they involve sum and difference formulas. And I can say up front that the main mistake of sum and difference formulas is the positive and negative sign. So be very careful with positive and negatives as you go through and solve these problems today. You can make one mistake on a positive and negative up front, and all the work that follows is going to be off. So be careful with positive and negative. In this first problem, you're going to see that it's a right to left problem, meaning you're looking for a pattern of the identity, and this one shows sine, cosine, cosine, sine. So you know the pattern is going to be the sine of A plus B is equal to sine A cosine B, and then it's plus cosine A sine B, and this is a negative, so really the minus one is where it's minus there as well. So what you really want to do is look at the difference of the sign. Sine A minus B equals sine A cosine B minus cosine A sine B. You can write them both in one step if you want to. You can condense them. So because of that, you can actually say it's 4 times that whole thing. I actually factored a 4 out of both of those terms. I removed the 4. Now I'm not dealing with the 4. I'm just looking at the sine and cosine. I'm going to see that I have a sine, cosine, cosine, sine. And so what I want to write here is my A is going to be 5x, and it's a difference. So it's minus 3x, and that's all it is. Y is equal to 4 times, I messed up there. This is actually sine of 5x minus 3x. And so this is going to equal the sine of 2x, which makes it graphable compared to the first equation. These equations are equivalent, but now I can actually graph that. 4 is the amplitude. The period is going to be 2 pi divided by b, which equals 2 pi divided by 2, or pi, and then my units are my pi divided by 4. No phase shift, no vertical shift. Pretty straightforward graph. So it's a way to keep you thinking about graphing as well on these. And so now you're just going to mark the 4 and the negative 4 and and then it's a positive sign, so you're going to remember it starts like this. No phase shift, units are pile reports, you're just going to do pile report flag. Once you have those in place, you then just mark the dot on a positive sign. So it's a little bit of a review in terms of graphing and using the identity at the same time. Recognizing the identity, simplifying it, and then graphing the equation. The second problem is going to be more in depth, and this is a problem that you can easily make a mistake on positive and negative. You're going to want to make sure you remember Santa Claus in this problem. The question is, if the sine of A is equal to 3 over 5 in the first quadrant, and the cosine of B is equal to a negative 5/13 in the third quadrant, then what is all three some expressions? What's some expression for sine, cosine, and tangent? So to do this, what you really need to know are the identities of these, and then substitute in values for the identities. So what I want to do is go ahead and expand those identities, and then I want to figure out what my missing parts are. So just based on the identities, I know that this is equal to sine A cosine B plus cosine A sine B. It's a mixture of sine A cosine A sine B cosine B. So I need all four of those in order to get my answer. For the cosine A and B, it's the same thing in terms of the mixture. Cosine A cosine B minus sine A times sine B. Well, that means I have to somehow figure out what my missing parts are here. I have sine A, I have cosine B. I need sine B, and I need cosine B, cosine A, and I need sine B, because I'm given the other one. So now it's a matter of finding out what those are, and the way that you figure out what those are is you draw them in standard position and then find the missing parts. So to do that, what you could do is on one graph, draw both of them. You can say, all right, sine A is 3 over 5, so this is your angle A. You don't care what A is, you're just using that A, and you're going to say that it's 3/5 opposite over hypotenuse. Your missing side is 4. It's in the first quadrant where they're all positive. So that tells you that the cosine of A is going to be 4 over 5. What about B? Well, on B it says it's in the third quadrant. So I'm going to want to draw a triangle here. Hopefully you remember doing this. When you draw that angle, you know that the cosine of B is going to be 5 adjacent hypotenuse 13. Tangent is what's positive there because of Santa Claus. So I have to be very careful here on positive and negative. I know it's a 5, 12, 13, and therefore the sine of B is going to be negative 12 over 13. That negative is going to be where students are going to get that wrong. So be very careful with those. Now, one other thing is on the tangent A plus B, you need the tangent of A and the tangent of B. So I would just all at the same time go through and do sine, cosine, and tangent for all of them. So the tangent of A, you can easily see just by the diagram, is going to be positive 3 over 4. And the tangent of B is going to be 12 over 5. And remember, thinking positive or negative, it's got to be positive because of Santa Claus. So it's 12 opposite over adjacent, 12 over 5. At this point, you have all 6 fractions that you need in order to fill in off the bottom. All right. So now it's a matter of just substituting in those values and simplifying the fractions. Let's go ahead and do that. This is going to be sine A, 3/5. Cosine B, negative 5/13. Plus cosine A, 4/5. Times sine B, negative 12/13. 5 times 13, 65. 65 on both of those. So this becomes negative 15 minus 48. So that's a negative 63 over 65. Looking at the other one, again, just substituting in the fractions and simplifying. Cosine A, 4/5. Cosine B, negative 5/13. Minus sine A, 3/5. Sine B, which is going to be negative 12/13. Again, you're going to have 65 in the denominator, negative 20, and this is going to be plus 36. Which is 16 over 65. Tangents. Let's go ahead and bring that one up here. All right, so that's going to be tangent A, which is 3/4, plus tangent B, which is 12/5, over 1 minus 3/4 times 12/5. Now, on this, you have fractions within fractions. We've seen that a few times already. You want to clear out those fractions. You multiply the top and bottom by the common denominator. Common denominator is going to be 20 and 20. And when you distribute through, you're going to end up, let's see, 4 goes into 25 times, that's 15. 4 times here, coming back, 48. 20 minus 36. Again, the 20 cancels with the 20. You have to distribute it to both, but the 20s would cancel out with 6. So that means that this is going to be 63 over negative 16. And be careful with those values. So these are your answers to those sum expressions. If the question is, where does the angle A plus B terminate? If the question is, where does A plus B terminate? The way you find that out is you think about Santa Claus. So you would know the sign of A plus B is negative, which means if the sign is negative, it's got to be down here for SATC, right? The cosine is positive, cosine is positive means it could be here or it could be here. That means it's got to be in the fourth quadrant. To verify, the tangent we have is negative, which means yes, it is negative as well. So the way you pick the quadrant on A plus B is you check where those are positive and negative, and you can whittle it away, finding the quadrant, which would be quadrant 4, on where it terminates. And we'll have questions like that as well on some of the problems. That's basically all the second half of this section. Again, negatives are going to be where you make mistakes. Be careful with those.